what's most important for me to have you understand, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes, is to how the telephone doctor came to be, because without that you wonder, how the heck, what is Nancy, what's going on? So very briefly, let me explain. It is a fun story. Pay attention. It is the American dream. About 25 years ago, I picked up my telephone and I called my insurance agent, and I told him to cancel all my policies. No small job. We were his largest account, and I don't need to tell anybody who's listening what happens when you lose your largest account. The man had coronary arrest. I heard him fall off his chair. He picked himself up and he said, my gosh, Nancy, what happened? So I told him, your people stink. They're so rude. They're so abrupt. They're so unfriendly. They're so unpleasant, and I don't want to work with you anymore. Thank you very much. I said, you're terrific, but you're never there. I'll have lunch with you. Your wife is pretty. Your kids are cute, but I don't want to do business with you anymore, Michael. He said, you know what, Nancy, you're right. When I call your office, I'm treated like a king, and I'm not even a customer. I said, Michael, we treat our wrong numbers better than you treat your customers. That gets a big laugh at when you see me. Okay, never mind. Anyway, he said, would you do me a favor? I said, what's that? He said, would you come to my office and you train my people and show them what to do like you do it? And I don't know about you, but when somebody reaches out to touch me, I do want to touch them back. So I said, yeah, I'll go to your office. So I went to his office out of love. It was the last time I did it out of love. But I went to his office, and they had 6, 7 people at each table. I don't think they had 15, 16 people in the room, had a cup of coffee, had a donut, and 9 o'clock Michael said, Nancy's going to speak with us. So I stood up in front of those 16, 17 people looking at me, much like you're probably sitting there right now, saying, oh, what you going to say? Well, I said, at our office, we say please. And one woman said, Hilda, write that down. That's a good one. Yes, she did. And I said, we say thank you. We say you're welcome. Have a nice day. You look good. Have a good. That's what we do at our office. I don't think I spoke 15 minutes. Had another cup of coffee, had another donut, and I started to walk out the door. The president of the insurance agency said, wait a minute, Nancy. I said, what's wrong? He said, well, nothing's wrong. I just wanted to thank you. I said, well, you're welcome. He said, no, you don't understand. We really learned some new things. I came home and had a drink with my husband that night. He hadn't known what I did. I said, Dick, let me tell you what I did today. So I told him about calling Michael and canceling the policies and the cookies and the donuts and the round table and Hilda and please and thank you. I said, Dick, as I was walking out the door, the president of the insurance agency said, thank you very much. We really learned some new things, Dick, that you and I do, like breathing in and breathing out. I don't understand. And Dick looked me right in the eye and said, Nancy, don't ever be surprised. No one has ever shown them. Well, I happened to mention this very same story to the then general manager of a newspaper in Davenport, Iowa. We happened to have him as a big Weatherline client, and we take him out to dinner. Now, what do you think you talk about when you take one of your largest accounts out to dinner? You talk about what you did tonight. That's what you're going to do today. You're going to go home, have dinner, and someone's going to say, how was work? What'd you do? And you're going to say, well, I heard this lady from St. Louis talking about customer service. You're going to talk about this program and the things you did tonight at work. So took the guy out to dinner, and he says to me, what'd you do today? So I told him about calling Michael and canceling the policies and, like I say, the cookies, the donuts, the round table, Hilda, please, and thank you. Didn't think too much about it, finished my dinner, went home, came to my office the next morning. My phone was ringing. It was the general manager from the newspaper in Davenport, Iowa, and he said, Nance, I've been thinking about what you talked about last night, and you're right. From president to maintenance, if you have a telephone on your desk, you should be trained. Would you come to my newspaper, Nancy? Would you train my people? I said, sure, Bob, no problem. How many people do you have, dear? He said, 300. I said, oh, my God. Turning to my husband, I said, now look what you got me into. Well, I happened to have married the can-do man, and the can-do man said, you can do it, Nancy. So I sat down, and I wrote a half-day program, and I flew up to Davenport, Iowa, delivered 4 programs, morning, afternoon, next day, morning, afternoon, 4 of them, 4 hours long. The first program was delivered only to management, because Bob, the general manager of the newspaper, said to me, if this program is to work, and I want it to, it must start at the top, Nancy. It must dribble down. It cannot dribble up. And so I want all the managers of this newspaper to understand what's going to happen from now until forever. And so I delivered the first program to all the managers of the Quad City Times in Davenport, Iowa. And when I was done, the editor of the Quad City Times walked up to me. He stuck his finger in my face. He said, you know, you're pretty good. You sure got all the cures, don't you? And he said, I'm going to call you the doctor. I'm going to call you the telephone doctor. And I came running home to my husband. I said, Dick, somebody call me the telephone doctor. What do we do? He said, let's go get it registered. And we're going to have some fun. And fun we've been having running around the country, the world, if you will. The program that you're hearing today has been presented in Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, Istanbul, Turkey, Jamaica, Bermuda. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States does not have a monopoly on poor customer service. So bottom line, that's how I got started. It's always a fun story, because somebody usually can identify with it. Okay, we've got a bunch of golden nuggets to share with you. Let us go to the first one, Wayne. Or, I'm sorry, Vanna. Are you dressed appropriately, Wayne? I hope so. All right, company jargon. You, as people in the plumbing and heating business, you know what you're talking about. When you come into my house, I don't. 90% of us don't know what we're talking about, what you're talking about. So it's real important that you don't say your DFW is connected to the RCC, which makes 40 amps seem like 20 amps, and therefore that's not why you're getting heat, Mrs. Friedman. That's why the water's not going down, Mrs. Friedman. Talk English. When you're talking to a customer, speak English. You can do all the company jargon you want when you have your conference, and all the company jargon you want when you're talking to each other at lunch. But when you're talking to Mrs. Friedman, you're talking to Mrs. Smith, Mr. Jones, chances are all those abbreviations, all those keywords that you're using won't mean diddly squat to us. And I cannot tell you how many people come into my house and start talking over my head with abbreviations and initials and numbers, and your R247's not working. Good. Well, fix my R247, whatever the heck that is. And that's real important because you want to communicate with your customers. And company jargon, I mean, some of you have more abbreviations than the CIA. I've heard them explained to my husband. My husband's a pretty sharp guy, but his eyes glazes over when you start going into, we need a new humidifier. And they started telling us what was wrong with ours. And all I said to the guy was, it's not working. That's all you need to know, and I need to know that you can fix it. And he got the picture pretty quick because he was trying to explain everything to me. You're going to explain something to your customers. English, please. English, please. Company jargon is for you, not for your customers. By the way, I was I think it's 3 or 4 time speaker at the QSC conferences throughout the years. Charlie Wallace is a dear friend of mine, if you know him. Good man. And so Charlie, hi. Oh, he's not on this. He's never on these things. But anyway, if you know Charlie, you can tell him I said hello. He's a good man. All right, let's Vanna Wayne. Let's say number 2, killer words. Dick Friedman, my husband, is vice president of Telephone Doctor. I'm president, and Dick is vice president of Telephone Doctor, and he writes all of our customer service training programs. And the last one he wrote, not the last one he wrote was, I'll tell you about later, but a year or so ago we wrote one called The Killer Words of Customer Service. Now, they're not dirty, they're not 4 letters, but they're words that can really stop a conversation. They make your customers think, what the heck did he mean by it? So I'm going to give you 3 or 4 of them. There are 8 that we have dubbed as killer words. There's a whole series on it. Killer words of customer service. The first one, and you've probably said it today already, when somebody says, thank you so much, I appreciate your help, and you hear, no problem. No problem has become a big problem. No problem is a problem when you tell somebody there, what happened to the gold standard of you're welcome? My pleasure, happy to do it, glad to do it. Call me again. You telling somebody it's no problem is very dismissive. It's useless. So it's very difficult. If you've been a no-problem person, it's going to be very difficult for you to change that. But it can be done. It's difficult for me to lose weight. It was hard for me to stop smoking. I did both. And I stopped using the words no problem. Just the other day we were out to dinner. Guy pours me water. I said, thanks so much. Just barely looked at him. And he walks away saying, no problem. I said, Dick, look at that. How many people say that? So when the customer says, thank you, I appreciate it, have your people say, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. Call on us again. Now, the second killer word, if you're trying to get out of your marriage, if you're really looking for a strong way to get out of your marriage or relationship, just tell the other person, now look, calm down. Just calm down. Those 8 letters will really burn somebody's you-know-what. Calm down is like adding oil to fire. What is it? Oil to water and oil. They don't mix. They just don't mix. I notice on television and in movies when one of the actors tells another, oh, just calm down. The first thing they say is, don't you tell me to calm down. We are not in control of other people's feelings. So we cannot tell them any way to act. So telling a customer, calm down, telling a spouse, calm down, is just adding, as I say, fuel to the fire. It is useless. Calm down will always get you a side issue, if you will, a side conversation about what not to say instead of the real issue, which is a problem or the inconvenience. A couple others that you might be interested besides no problem and calm down is, awfully sorry, that's our policy. That's our policy. And the answer to that really is, who cares what your policy is? Your policies were made for you, for the company. They weren't made for me. You decided what they were going to be. You decided what you wanted. You decided what had to be. I didn't tell you to make those policies. So policies, as I say, is for the company. Now, every company needs them, but what we have also found out is that I would say close to 95%, I'm hoping, of the time when there's an issue where it's a policy issue, we can skirt around it somehow, help the customer out. We can usually do that unless it's involving hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the customer doesn't want to hear that's our policy. It's an excuse. Again, it's dismissive. You're just saying, go away, that's our policy, you don't like it, so be it. So you might want to think about saying, you know, Mrs. Friedman, I will look into that for you. I'm not sure that's available. They got some hard and fast guidelines that we adhere to, but let me double check for you. And people love to hear the word double check. They just love it. Let me double check for you and see if there's anything at all I can do. Then the worst thing that can happen is you come back and say, well, I tried. And then the customer at least goes, well, that was sweet of him. That was her. That was a good thing to do. So that's our policy. Not going to win any friends with that words. Can I be honest with you? No, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying that's a killer word. Can I be honest with you? No, lie to me. So we don't want, can I be honest with you? You want me to be frank? You want the truth? No, I want you to lie to me. Those are useless words. They're just dismissive. I expect you to be honest with me. You don't have to say, you don't have to question it. If there's any women listening, raise your hand. Oh, I can't see it. I was going to say, if there's any women listening, we go into the dressing room, we change into a dress at Dillard's or Macy's, and the we say to the saleswoman, how do I look? Does this make me look fat? Well, you want me to be honest with you? And it's their favorite line. And we know they're not going to be honest with us. So bottom line, those are 4 killer words that I give to you free, and I ask you to get, you know, your customers have asked you. We don't make these up. These came from surveys that I've done for the years and years I've been speaking at conferences to find out. I asked you, if you got 1,000 people in the audience, I asked you to give me some input. And these came from just people like you sitting in a conference, owning their own business, saying, this is what I don't like. So if you don't like it, remember sometimes you're the customer. No problem, calm down, that's our policy. And can I be honest with you, are 4 that if you never said again in your life, you would be a better person. So number 3 really needs, I like to have a show of hands. Anybody feel like typing? My question to you when I have a large audience is I yell out to the audience, what is the #1 skill that your customers want in sales and service? What is the #1 skill that your customers want in sales and service? And if you want to type what you think it is, when I ask that in a large room full of 300, 400, 500 people, I hear attitude, personality, honesty. Yeah, they want all those things. Of course they do. But what rose to the top 100% of the time are listening skills. That's what our customers want. If you're in any type of, they want you to listen. You know, we all have ears. Most of us have ears, and most of us hear. My husband's hard of hearing, but the bottom line, he can hear. But is he listening? Is he listening? And there's a big difference between hearing and listening. When you're talking over somebody, you're not listening. When you're talking at the same time as somebody, you're not listening. Ask a wife, if you really listen to her, or ask a husband, you're really listening to me. Listening means I'll have a good answer for you when you stop talking. You don't want to interrupt the person. So that is the #1 skill that our customers want in sales and service. And attitude and personality and all those other things are on the list, but this rose to the top. So if you want to be a good person, whether you're in sales or service, remember our service people, you're all owners, or most of you are owners that are listening, I'm going to bet. We get, the service people go out to the houses. I'd love someday to do a huge program on the service for the service people, because they get you in trouble too. But anyway, they're pretty good people. They work hard, but they've never had information delivered to them like this. And if they can just take one nugget out of this, I'm going to get a half a dozen. But if you can just take one nugget and use it in your life, and by the way, these nuggets are not just for your business. These nuggets will help you in your personal life too. Remember who said that. Okay, that was #1 skill that your customers want from you in sales and services, listening skills. Listening skills. All right, Vanna, we can turn number 4. And by the way, if you have a question, thought, idea, tip, or skill or technique you want to add, go ahead and type it out. Wayne will read it, or I guess I could read it. And we will hopefully have a small Q&A at the end of this, or you can always email me at nancy@telephonedoctor.com, and I'll be happy to answer your personal questions outside of my weight. That is not, you're not going to go there. Okay? Thank you. All right, number 4, empathy versus sympathy. What's the difference? Anybody know the difference? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Oh, I can't see you, darn it. We should do this on Skype sometimes. No, that jiggles and I don't like that. Okay. The difference in empathy and sympathy, I guess I can put it this way. When I called, it was my bank just about a month or so ago, and I complained to her. She said, oh, I know exactly how you feel. I said, has this ever happened to you? She said, no, but I can know exactly how can you empathize with me if you haven't gone through what I've gone through? How can you do that? So it boggles my mind when people say, I know exactly how you feel, when they haven't been through it. Customers don't want to hear, I know exactly how you feel, unless you can say, listen, this has happened to me. Listen to what happened. And you can share a similar story that they know you empathize. And sympathy, you see somebody with a broken arm. I mean, you can't empathize with them unless you have had a broken arm. You can offer sympathy. Ouch, that looks like it hurts. I'm so sorry. But if you've had a broken arm, then you can say, man, I broke mine in 2 places. Where'd you break yours? Or, mine was only the wrist. And then you start a conversation. Then you can start rapport building. So empathy and sympathy are different. I called the cable company. I was down in Florida. We have a little place in the Isla Morada in Florida Keys, and I had trouble with the company down there. I won't name it, but you probably can figure it out. And she kept saying, oh, I understand how you feel. And I said, you got to, and I told her, I said, you got to stop saying that to me, because you do not understand how I feel, all right? I have special feelings, different from yours. My father passed away many years ago. A friend of mine walks up to me, taps me on the shoulder, says, oh, Nancy, I'm so sorry. I know exactly how you feel. I said, Myrna, your father's sitting right over there. Don't you tell me you know how you feel, how I feel. So even if her father had passed away, it wouldn't have been the same feelings. We cannot know how other people feel. So empathy has to be a little bit, I've been through that, I get it, versus sympathy, I've never been through it, but man, I hope, well, I said our sympathies, our prayers are with you. Unless you've lost a parent or then you've lost somebody, then you can say, I do know how you feel. Anyway, bottom line, be careful saying those things to people because they're very testy about it. They're very testy about it. All right, let's go to one that I know is very important, the next one, number 5, and that is our 3-part greeting. Because one of the most often asked questions when I'm at a conference speaking is in the Q&A is, Nancy, what is the best way to answer our business phones? Well, I'm not saying Telephone Doctor is the best or the only or the first, but I will say we are the most effective, and I'll stand on that on my little soapbox for the years I'm alive. We are extremely effective. But the bottom line is a 3-part greeting. If you write the numbers 1, 2, and 3 under each other, 1, 2, 3 under each other, the first number 1 will say the word buffer, B-U-F-F-E-R. And buffer words are good morning, good afternoon, thanks for calling, Merry Christmas, Happy Tuesday. I don't care what they are, but they need to be there when you answer a telephone. Buffer words are important. They buffer the next thing that's going to happen, and that's going to be the company name. The company name, here, All Better Plumbing. Hi, thanks for calling All Better Plumbing. This is Nancy. And it's This is Nancy. You, of course, use your own name. You understand that? Okay. So the buffer words can be thanks for calling, Merry Christmas. People always ask, well, what do you guys use at Telephone Doctor? Well, we use thanks for calling. Well, why do you use thanks for calling, Nancy? Well, the truth, I got 5, 6 people answering the phones here. They're very lazy. They don't want to look up at the clock. So every once in a while I used to hear at 5 o'clock in the evening, good morning. Telephone Doctor. No, it's not good morning. Oh, I mean, it was good afternoon. They'd get all confused. But finally I said, why don't we start saying thanks for calling? Then we don't have to worry what time it is. Oh, they like that. So now we say, hi, thanks for calling, Telephone Doctor's office. This is Nancy. Stop. If you're saying, how can I help you, it is okay. I believe each and every one of you listening to this webinar want to be better than okay. How can I help you is not necessary on initial greetings. We're there to help. That's why we picked up the telephone. How can I help you is not necessary, should not be on initial greetings. You need to stop with your name. Hi, thanks for calling Best Heating and Cooling. This is Andy. Stop. Anything after our name erases our name. 2 things happen when you use the Telephone Doctor's 3-part greeting. Number one, it speeds the report building process. Oh, yeah, it moves it right along. And number two, the best part, 80% of the time when you stop with your name, 80% of the time the customer will say, well, hi, Andy, this is Bob Smith. Well, hi, Mr. Smith, nice to talk with you. You'll get the caller's name and then use it immediately. Immediately. So what do we have? We have a buffer. It can be thanks for calling. It can be the company name next, and then this is Nancy. Not Nancy speaking. Nancy speaking is married to Bob speaking. They have two children, Judy speaking and Jill speaking. So don't be saying Bob speaking, all right? It's not Bob speaking. It's just this is Bob. Three-part greeting will be a little challenging because those of you who have been saying for the years, how can I help you? It'll come out every once in a while, but the calls that don't have it will be more effective for you. Guaranteed, as they say, guaranteed. All right, number 6, we just happened to talk about a minute ago, but I'm going to go a little deeper into it because it's that important. If we can change the flag here, Vanna, to number 6. Number 6, right, be a double checker. I told you, instead of policies, just say, let me double check that. When you are a double checker, you create such credibility for yourself. It's a small story, but it's a good one. I walked into a shoe store a couple months ago, and the woman said, can I help you? And isn't that interesting how they say that? No, I don't want any help at all. Excuse me. I said, yes, I'd like the pair of red shoes in the window. I'd like those in a 9.5 medium. She said, oh, we're out of those. I said, could you double check for me? She said, no, I sold them yesterday. We're out of them. We don't have any more. I said, well, do me a favor and just double check because sometimes stuff happens and people put things back in the wrong spot. You might have been out to lunch. You didn't know it. So also, no, honey, I sold them. I know. We're out of them. Well, I made her go back and double check, all right? I said, do me a favor. Just, just play with me here for a moment. Be nice to me and just go back and double check. I really want the shoes. But the customer asked something, so she gives the shoulder shrug. And she goes back in the back, and about 5 minutes later, she comes up with a box under her arm. She comes out to the store. And I said, those wouldn't happen to be my 9.5 medium red shoes. She said, well, somebody put them in the wrong place. I had to tell her to go double check. Shouldn't she have said, let me go double check? What's wrong with double checking? Even if you know you don't have it, you're out of it. It won't. It's so nice to say, I believe the last time I checked we were out of those, but let me double check because stuff happens. It happens all the time on the cruise lines. I was on the phone when the cruise line lady told me, she said, oh, we're sold out of anything midship. I said, you got to be kidding. No, it's all gone. You can have end cabins. I don't want end cabins. And then she says, but let me double check because stuff happens in our business so fast. And she went and she said, Ms. Friedman, you won't believe this. It was just released about 20 minutes ago. I have a midship cabin. So stuff does happen. Maybe not often, but even the fact that you go back and say, let me double check, is something that some other customer won't do, and it's really critical that you tell somebody, let me double check, instead of an immediate, no, can't be done. Number 7. Oh, I love number 7. What's the difference between an attitude and a mood? You know the difference, don't you? Well, most of us do. Attitudes are permanent. Moods are temporary. It's that simple. Those of us with a great attitude will have an attitude every day of goodness. We're happy. Our feet hit the floor in the morning. We thank God. We're happy. It's going to be a good day. With that said, I'm a pretty good attitude person. And people will say to me, well, Nancy, what's the matter? Don't you ever get in a bad mood? Well, of course I do. I mean, I'm human. But what we have found is that people with a great attitude get out of a bad mood quicker. You see, we don't want to wallow in that stuff. We want to step in it. We don't want to go around it. We don't want to smell it. And so when I do get in a bad mood, I don't last that long. It's anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, maybe the longest. And I move myself out of that. A long time ago, my husband and I decided we didn't want to be around people who were, always complaining. It's too hot. It's too cold. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. Complainers are not for me, and we removed them from our lives. We said, let's not go out to dinner with those people who just drag us down. Their attitudes are bad. They're always in a bad mood. Something's always wrong. So we just removed those people. Now we don't have a lot of friends. We do. But our friends are in good attitudes and usually in a good mood. So I don't think anybody's in a good mood 100% of the time, and if they are, congratulations. But we're entitled to a mood change every once in a while for whatever reason. But just the attitude is so important that you keep that little smile on your face, that you keep, your smile in your voice, that you look at somebody with a smile. It's all important. All good. All good. Number 8. How are we doing? Number 8. Okay. Oh, what's wrong with that? Totally useless. Totally useless. Hi, Bob. How are you? Fine, Nancy. How are you? Bye. That's it. Nothing gets done. Nothing is said. I can't tell you how useless those words are, especially in a sales call. But even you pass somebody in a mall, you pass them in the hall, in business, whatever, and you're walking fast, and it's like you don't even know you're saying, hi, good, how are you, fine, how are you, bye, and you're gone. You know, nobody cares. So again, we removed it. By the way, all these techniques, the telephone doctor, are condition of employment, grounds for termination, and I have exercised my options. So they're used in our office, and I got 25 employees. I'm just a small business here in St. Louis, 25 employees, 10,000 square foot building. We're having a lot of fun. All we're doing is selling online training, DVDs, and some programs to come and help you with your business. But we utilize every single technique. We walk the walk, we talk the talk, we practice what we preach. And so words like, hi, how are you? We don't even say it to each other. Replacements, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, you're looking good. Pleasure. Just anything but hi, how are you? Number one, on the phone, you know it's a sales call normally. And when you hear that, 6 o'clock call coming, hi, Mr. Jones, how are you? Hey, what are you selling? What are you selling? And the other thing is it's just a useless statement. So who cares? I mean, if you're sick, then I care. But it's probably how you've been feeling, not hi, how are you? I'm just real adamant on this particular one. We have taken it, removed it from our lives. It isn't said. It is, how I don't know how else I can say it. It's useless. Don't be saying it. All right, number 9. Oh, isn't this fun? Now, I'm going to assume, because I've worked in the plumbing industry and talked to even some of the product people, did a lot of work with Train and a couple other things. The women are your, not target audience, but I mean, that's who the service tech goes and who answers the door 80% of the time. It's the woman calling up saying, my husband told me to call, I got to get a new humidifier, whatever it is. So let's face it, we're different, okay? We walk different, we talk different, we drive different, we feel different, we do things differently. And when you want to sell to us, we need a little difference there too. So on an in-person call, I'm going to give you the top 3 things that we like. And where did I get these? From my audience. I go around the audience, and I don't let the men talk. And I just say to the women, okay, tell the men what you like or don't like. Tell us how you want to be sold. So this is where they came in. The top one that came up, guess what? We need you to listen to us. We need you to listen to us. You know exactly what we want. You know exactly what we're talking about. Well, when you interrupt us and say, oh, yeah, I know what it is, it's not a good thing. And obviously you can't, listening can be done on the phone or in person, but in person, if you walk in, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. The number two must in selling to women is eye contact. And that means that you obviously can't make eye contact on the phone, but when you're in our house trying to sell us something or service something, we do need eye contact, not staring at us. We don't need you looking at your watch. We don't need you, looking at the cell phone. We don't need you looking at what's around the house. Just look in our eyes. We enjoy eye contact. And the third one is, and this you can do on the phone or in person, and that is we need a smile. That's right. We are a sucker for a smile. Ask any woman. It is just something that it brings us right up. We love a smile from somebody we love. We love a smile from a stranger. Right under there, believe it or not, came the word compliment. Women like to be complimented, whether it's now you have a lovely home here, or a cute dog, cute kid, nice voice, nice voicemail message. I can give you 10 things right now. When you compliment a woman, she will never, ever forget it. Never, ever forget it. There are many things we like and don't like. One of the next ones that came up, believe it or not, was don't talk down to us. Don't talk down to us like we don't understand. We probably don't. But you don't need to remind us. You don't need to remind us. Okay. There's a lot more to that, but we don't have a lot of time. Here comes number 10, which I've been saying over and over again. Excuses are useless, and so are some of those sayings. customers don't need excuses. What's the first thing you tell a kid when they start to understand and they start making excuses? What's the first thing you tell your kids? Don't make excuses. Just step up to the plate. And that's what your customers want. When they hear, well, the reason I was late was because, no, we don't need to know the reason you're late. I was, just say traffic was bad. That's it. Boom. You don't need to go into the sequel to Gone with the Wind to make a bunch of excuses. There was, and I forget, some book was written on the best excuses. It was on CBS Sunday Morning, and I thought that was interesting because people are really, I had a woman came in late for work. I said, why are you late? The dog pulled the plug out of a piece of computer or something. I mean, the dog, she's blaming the dog. She was late. You don't need an excuse. You're late, you're late. You don't need an excuse. So excuses are useless. I don't like them. Okay, number 11. Got a couple more, and then I want to take a few Q&As. This is interesting. Okay is not okay. If you've ever watched American Idol or America's Got Talent, especially American Idol, where Simon used to say, oh, my gosh, you are terrible. How did you ever get up here? How did you say, who told you you could sing? This is terrible. And the kid would stand there and go, okay. Well, approving a negative is not okay. So when somebody tells you a negative, hey, my humidifier is not working. Okay. Well, it's not okay. I called the bank the other day. How can I help you? I said, well, number one, I got a statement, and I don't quite understand it. It looks like something's wrong. She said, okay. I said, no, it's not okay that something's wrong. She said, I didn't mean okay and it's wrong. I meant okay. I said, okay, you can say it as many times as you want. And I think to myself, Dick has always told me, stop trying to train people one by one by one. So if somebody calls up and says, the heater's not working in the winter or the air conditioner's not working in the summer, okay is not the right answer. Oh, my gosh, let's get that fixed is a much better answer. So don't approve a negative when a customer tells you something about a product or that functioning is not functioning right. You won't get anywhere. Just answer the question, as you would. The last one, oh, I love this one. We're ending on a fun note. One more, emotional leakage. Well, we created that over a couple drinks one night. Emotional leakage is getting mad at Peter and taking it out on Paul. It's not right, it's not fair, it's no fun to take a negative thought out on somebody who's not involved. How rude can you get? My goodness. Emotional leakage is when, something happens, you hang up on one call, and you take that situation on another call or another visit. It's just not right. I was in a lighting store a while back. A woman was up at the counter, head laying down. She looked like she was passing out. Nobody else in the store, and I walked up to her. I said, how much is that light? She said, that's not for sale. I said, okay. Does that come in blue? Pointing to another light. She said, no. Asked her a third question. She barked at me a third time. And I said, pardon me, madam, are you okay? She said, I have a hangover. I threw up all night. I just don't feel well. I have diarrhea. I said, wait. Were we together? You're taking last night out on me, and I wasn't even with you. Well, she started to apologize, as right she should. I thought about what Dick told me. He held up a beautiful vase one time, and he said, Nancy, if we drop this vase and it breaks into 100 pieces, we can put it together. They have people to fix the vases, but it'll never be the same again. And so it is with our customers. We can emotionally leak on them because we were out of gas, or we fought with our wife, or yelled at our kids, or there's bad traffic, you name it. We can leak when we get into the house and say, oh, there's a lot of traffic, and now where's your humidifier, where's the heater, where's the plumbing, but it will never be the same again. We cannot emotionally leak on people. And sometimes, as you well know, the customer leaks on us. They've had a bad day, and then the toilet goes out, or then the heater goes out. And so you become the straw on the camel's back. Speaking of toilets, I'm glad I mentioned that. I haven't said the word toilet in this whole half hour. I need you all to email me. I really need to tell me why it is not good to throw Kleenex down the toilet. My husband does it all the time. He won't listen to me. Am I right or wrong? We shouldn't do that. He shouldn't do that. So I need you to email, however you want to say it, funny, serious, whatever. Mr. Friedman, Dick, please don't throw Kleenex down the toilet. Will you do that for me? Because my plumbing thing, it's just not good. All righty. Emotional leakage. We have now come to the end of the Golden Nuggets. Not the end. We have thousands of Golden Nuggets, but the special 12 that we made for you. I'd like to remind you, if you'd like to send in for our Friendly Voice newsletter, it's either nancyfriedman.com or telephonedoctor.com, which give you the product side. I'm the speaking side. And every month you'll get a newsletter by email. Nobody will call you unless you want to be called. And then again, I'm Nancy at telephonedoctor.com, nancyfriedman.com. Well, remember, I'm younger and thinner in person. That was very important for me to say. And if you have questions now, this is the time to ask them because we got about 5 more minutes. Oh, there I am. I'm in St. Louis. Thank you. Like us on Telephone Doctor, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you want to link in with me, we do a customer service tip of the day and blogging every Tuesday. The articles get very good response, and I'd love to have you link in with me and all those fun things. I'm a social media queen here. All right, so I see some names that I'm not familiar, but I know. And I'd like to open it up for questions.
We had a question from Daniel. He missed the part 3 in the 3-part greeting. Could you go over that again real quick?
I can do that. The 3-part greeting consists of a buffer, B-U-F-F-E-R, and that's good morning, good afternoon, thanks for calling. That's something that warms the call. Then the company name, Daniel's Plumbing, and the third is, this is Bob, whoever is speaking, of course. So you have a buffer, you have a company name, and your name. You do not need how can I help you on the initial greeting. All right, I'm here. 314 in St. Louis, 291-1012. We are Central Time. If anybody wants to call, ask about our services or our programs, I would love to hear you. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. I'm on my way to Las Vegas, Lost Wages, to speak.
Hey, Nancy, we actually had a quick question pop in, if you can just address it real quickly. So what would be an appropriate time for dead air on a call? And what would be a good filler for that time?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Something just as you said it. What would be a good time to what?
What would be an appropriate time for dead air on a call? And what would be a good filler for that time?
Ah, okay. Dead air is never good. It's like, remember, when you're on a phone call, you're like on stage. And dead air on stage, unless it's scripted, for a timing joke is critical. So if you need dead air, you would say, Mrs. Friedman, I'm going to either leave the line, I'm going to be quiet here because I want to look up the part number. So I have not left you, I have not disconnected you. Be about 20, 30 seconds or a minute or two. Give a real time. Don't say I'm just going to be a second here and then be a minute or two and quiet. But if I didn't talk for a long time, you'd think we were disconnected. But if I said to you, look guys, I'm just going to leave the line for a moment, or I'm going to look up where All Better Plumbing is online, and I'll be silent for a moment. I'll be silent for about 2 or 3 moments here. You're fine because you told me. So there's nothing appropriate to say other than the truth for dead air.
Okay.
When somebody is dead air to me, when somebody is looking up something, and I let 20 seconds, 30 seconds go, 100% of them, hello, are you there? Hello? Yes, I'm looking. I said, well, tell me that ahead of time. They just, my husband told me the other day, if everybody knew about us, we'd be very, very busy. We'll start spreading the word. How about Telephone Doctor? We do have the techniques to help you raise the bar, increase the service level. And most of you are pretty good. I'm frosting on the cake for whatever is already a good company.